What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Socktown. I'm Sock's Way Up. I wanted to start today's episode off with a little flyover of Socktown to give you guys an idea, the new people that are joining us today, an idea of what we've built so far. And if you don't want to miss any of this city being built, hit that subscribe button, enable the notifications so you can get notified when new episodes arrive. This is an episode I've been looking forward to making for a long time. We're gonna make a factory hub that houses all the unique factories that come with the Industries DLC. I've never done this before. I'm planning on using all of them. That's why we've built every single industry that the DLC provides. So here's the area where that's going to happen in. We've dedicated a good amount of space here. It's going to go on both sides of this freeway that's crossing through the middle of this area. I think it'll work out good. We're going to have to do a little bit of routing of some railroads, a little bit of changing of some street layouts, but we're going to get it going. So here's our farm industry. Over here we got our forest industry. Here's a look at our ore industry. And last but not least, Dirty Ground Oil Corp, the latest addition to our industries in Socktown. All right, so we're gonna get right at it. We're gonna have to add the extra railroad lines. You can see I already added you saw nothing there, by the way. You saw nothing. We're going back to the edge of the city and we're bringing in the railroads, trying to disrupt the city as least as possible. So kind of following this road as long as we can. And then we're going to bring it into the cargo railroad, train station that we built there. Going over the road, back down, and bringing it in as much as possible, like I said, to not disrupt the city and some plans that we have out here if we do build new developments in this area in the future. And I guess I should take a step back and tell you why. Why are we adding these extra railroads? Well, we're planning on adding a lot of factories to this area. So there's going to be a lot of traffic from trucks specifically. So what my goal is and my hope is by having a cargo train station in every industry, we're going to ignore the farming industry because it's close enough to the area that I think we can get away with it with not having one. But we're going to add the cargo train stations to every single industry area that we need. Hoping, I'm not sure exactly how the AI of the game will work, but hoping that those trains will bring the needed resources to the factories so they can build the items that they specialize in. And one thing you might notice that I'm doing in these areas is I'm doing one-way roads inbound to the cargo station and then outbound as well, so that those cars can free flow through. A lot of people do like feeder winding lanes to feed into the cargo station. I don't know if we'll need to. We're gonna revisit that after the traffic picks up and see if we need to. But here I was trying to minimize the effect of the railroad, bring it way outside of the city lines so that this new line really isn't noticeable. I'm trying to, again, prevent it from getting in the way of future development, but that's what we did here. I struggled a little bit with the railroad, started using Move It a little bit to fix it, to make it exactly what we needed. Again, this is an area we're not going to look at very often, so I wasn't too concerned with the looks of it, but did want to make it look at least realistic and make sure that it does work. And then we kind of rinse and repeat on the other side and got to bring the railroad back into the main line of the track so that it can get to and from the other cargo stations. And that's what we do here. But that is the last thing we have to do before we get to the meat and potatoes. I think that's the saying, right? Meat and potatoes of this build. All right, so meat and potato time. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our industry roads. We're gonna give some locations where we're gonna lay out these factories. I do end up laying out every single factory that we want to use, these unique factories, to kind of get a feel of where we should place them. We also are adding in a couple more cargo stations, train stations, because I guess my big idea was that the industries would bring it from one cargo station to the other. I'm recording this voiceover afterwards, obviously. A little spoiler, I don't think it works that way. Unfortunately, it didn't really turn out very good for the way that resources were delivered to the factories. It looks to me like the trucks actually leave the factory and go get the resources. I don't know, I need to look into that a little bit more, but it didn't turn out as well as I was hoping. I still think the area ends up looking pretty cool. So initially we have the large industry roads for the vehicles to get into the factory area. And then we started using the one-way roads as they dip into the actual roads that the factories are on. And we go and grab every other factory that we had out there, and we were gonna move it over to this new factory base or factory home, I guess we'd call it. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna add those one lane roads. We're gonna add some of these factories in. And right here is where I just say, all right, I want all of them. All of them. I was hoping to get extreme maximized profit. I don't think it turned out as well as far as the profit goes. But as far as the look of this main factory area, I do like the way it turned out. And you can see I'm still laying down the rest of them to kind of get a feel of where I want to group them. And then I start looking at what they are. I wanted to kind of see, we got these electronic factories, we got the car factory. Those things seem to make sense to go together. The petroleum factory shouldn't really be by, you know, the bakery. So we're going to move that out. Those probably need a better home long term, but these first ones we're laying down, this is where they're gonna go. I think they look nice together. They're the larger factories in the same area as well. It gave a good feel to it. I mean, there's some industry areas that are this overly populated, but I think the way we design the roads, the traffic isn't an issue. And again, I've already, you know, filmed this. I'm not doing this voiceover live as I'm building the city. So I do know the traffic flow is perfect in this area. We haven't seen any backups. There was a little issue around the intersection coming from the farms into this area, but it's a traffic light and there was like 6 or 7 cars backed up. Felt realistic to me. Not too worried about that. But yeah, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna lay down some roads and I'll get back to you at the end. All right, here we're gonna do a little poor man zoom. You can see we're up to 77,000 per week, 82,000, and it's climbing. It does fluctuate and go up and down, but this is what we were looking for, trying to maximize that profit. It's looking good. I started at like 6 million, we're down to 3 million, but we're getting back up there. All right, and to kind of summarize, I wanted to kind of give a closer view of some of these areas. We got our electronics building, we got this car factory. The car factory is my favorite, to be honest with you. It's a large factory. It's got the cars in the background, you can see there. They already built those cars, so now they need to go head over to our car dealership and be sold. And here we got, what is this? Little boxes. I think those are like little tiny homes, but that's cool. Another cool building. And then zoom on over to this area, and we got our energy drinks. I guess they're energy drinks. I thought it was lemonade. And what do we got here? Office furniture. Everyone needs office furniture. This city's really, taking care of itself. All of these buildings, factories, we don't need to export stuff anymore or import things anymore. And there's our toy factory. So we're making some toys for the kiddos as well. Over here, we got a donut factory for all the donut shops in town. They can get their donuts here instead of importing them as well. In the background there, we got another food store, Quality Foods. We zoom in over here, got another little factory. This one, I believe, yeah, this is where the clothing is made. So, you know, we get our fancy clothes in Socktown. A lot of socks are probably made there too, I'm sure. Socks. Look at the fancy outdoors. Another large factory. This is where the paper is being made. The paper, like, we seem to not have a lot of paper being made for the paper factories. So that's one of the areas that I'll probably work on offline to try to improve some of the things that are lacking. That one looks like a printer press, and you know, that's our awesome unique factory zone. I love it. It turned out good. We got a lot of good transportation going. You can see the traffic looks stellar. Don't have to worry about that at all, but give you a little view of some of the resources that are needed. We're still struggling with some special goods. It comes and goes. All of these factories eventually do produce goods. It's just I haven't gotten it to where they all produce them at the same time, which would ultimately be a goal to maximize that profit. As right now it's sitting at 66,000 a week instead of, we were fluctuating between negative to like 5,000 to 6,000 before we did this area. And now we don't really need the money, but it is really cool to see how quickly you can grow the profitability of a city by just having these unique factories that have these goods that they can either sell to the local stores or export to other cities. But I think that's going to do it for this episode of Socktown. I had a blast with it again. This is one I was looking forward to for a long time. And if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button. And like I said at the beginning, if you want to see more of this city being grown, hit that subscribe button so you can join us at every new episode. And until next time, I'm Sock's Way Up. Thanks for joining.